Hello, everyone, and many thanks for joining this stream this Monday, first day of autumn, and let's hope this autumn will bring peace everywhere it's needed. Today is first, as I said, 1st of September, 11 o'clock in the morning, Moscow time, and as always, dear friends, I have prepared quite a number of news on some major developments that Russian media and public is paying attention to, and hopefully you will find this segment informative and interesting. And if so, please help me out to deal with the algorithm and like the video and leave some commentary. Especially if you're gonna watch or if you are watching this video after live stream ends, when comment section will be available during the stream. It's a chat on YouTube at least. As always, dear friends, after news segment, I will join community chat for a little while. And if you have any question or topic, please use capital or topic that you want to discuss. Please use capital letters to let me know about it. And also, you can use super chat feature on my Rumble channel during the stream, and you can donate this way. And also, uh, just to make sure that I would not miss your question, because I would not. And sir, what else for intro? If you like my work, dear friends, and if you want to help me save this independent media project from Russia, please consider to support her. You can do it with donations through PayPal or Boosty. You can subscribe to my Patreon page or page that I have on Boosty. I'm publishing extra content on both pages there, and it is tremendously important for to save this project. By the way, Patreon and Boosty, and well, please consider to join our communities there. Last week I had extra content on every weekday from Monday to Friday, and I'm going to try my best to uh, publish at least 5 extra videos, exclusive videos on Patreon and Boosty this week, as my thank to all the members that are supporting through those platforms. As I said, you can use super chat feature on Rumble and also become a premium subscriber on Rumble. This is also an option. That's been said, dear friends. All the links, of course, are on this video in the description box. And let's start with the news now. Let's start with the news segment. As yesterday, today I will also start with some economical stuff, international affairs. There is a Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit in China that is going on yesterday and today. Major development for this world, I will say. Although in the Western world, by the way, in the collective Western countries, media is either ignoring this event, very important event, or is in the meltdown, right? And you're gonna see some hatred that is coming towards SCO members. Propagandists of the collective Western ruling class are not happy that many countries, dozens of countries, are gathering together and discussing cooperation, while none of the Western countries are present, by the way. Believe it or not, but none of the Western countries, based on information that I have seen, none of them were presented. Maybe their ambassadors or embassy staff is there, but not delegation. Delegations being sent. And well, dear friends, Russian president has a busy working schedule. He met with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. He also met yesterday. That was he met also with Pashinyan, Prime Minister of Armenia, and leader of Kazakhstan, Tokayev. Today, Russian president already had a meeting with the Chinese leader once again, Xi Jinping, also Prime Minister of India, Modi, and it's gonna be, as I said, by the way, it's gonna be a busy day for all the delegations, including Russian delegations. Russian president spoke at the meeting of the Council of the Heads of the States of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization member states. Let me give you some key points from statements of Russian president. So RIA Novosti is reporting that Vladimir Putin spoke at the meeting of the Council of the Heads of the States of the SCO member states. The president spoke about the impressive pace of development of the organization and also assessed their prospects for resolving the Ukrainian crisis. The main points of Russian presidents, according to RIA Novosti, are, on topic of Ukraine, he said that conflict arose not as a result of an attack, but after a coup d'etat, when the Ukrainian leadership, which did not support their country's entry into North Atlantic Alliance, was eliminated. He's referring to 2014 bloody coup d'etat that was orchestrated by US and European states. The second reason of their crisis is the West's constant attempts to draw Ukraine into NATO, which, as we have repeatedly emphasized and said over many years, represents a direct threat to Russia's security. Putin said there. He also went to highlight that Moscow adheres to the approach that the country can ensure its security at the expense of others for long-term peace. The root causes of the conflict must be addressed. Russia widely appreciates the efforts of China, India, and other partners to achieve a settlement. We have a quote from Putin. I would like to note that their understanding reached at the recent Russian-American summit in Alaska, I hope, are also moving in this direction, opening the way to peace in Ukraine. Putin will inform SCO colleagues about the results of his meeting. Putin went to inform, basically, leaders of the other countries about the results of the meeting with White House Chief Donald Trump during the bilateral talks on the sidelines of the summit. On the development of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, Russian president stated that organization is consistently increasing its influence in resolving international issues. Their pace of development of cooperation within their organization is impressive. National currencies are increasingly used in mutual settlements and trade, and this information not gonna go down well in the West, but this is true, by the way. More and more countries worldwide, not just BRICS member states or SCO member states, but many other countries are getting rid of Western currencies in a trade. Dialogue in the SCO helps lay foundation for the formation of a new system of stability and security in Eurasia to replace their outdated Eurocentric and Euro-Atlantic models. I am confident that their issues of implementing the agreements reached here in Tianjin will be examined in detail at the meeting of their SCO heads of the government council, which is agreed will be held in Moscow in November. We will be glad to see delegations from all our countries, all your countries, dear friends, Putin said. What else, by the way? So that's it when it comes to some key points. Also, dear friends, Shanghai Cooperation Organization leaders approved their Tianjin Declaration. Let me give you some details on that too. So the Council of the Heads of the States of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization members approved the Tianjin Declaration. Basic points in this declaration are geopolitical confrontation, challenges and threats to security and stability are intensifying in the world, including in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization region, and you guessed why. Because of the destructive policies of collective West, right? Western ruling class. That is, their principles of non-interference in internal affairs and non-use of force are the basis for the sustainable development of international relations. Another point in this declaration, the members of the association adhere to a line that excludes blocker and confrontational approaches to solving problems. So that's some key points, by the way. most important outcome of this summit is going to be agreements that SCO members and the companies from SCO members, while using opportunity to have this gathering, will sign up for. And I'm quite sure they're going to be contracts and agreements for signed for tens of billions of dollars, no doubts about that. And as I said, dear friends, Russian president met today with the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, and also with the Chinese leader Xi Jinping. There was a bilateral meeting between Modi and Putin. But let me show you a shorter video, by the way. This video is not going to go down well in the West, for sure. Just look at this. Putin and Modi meeting with Xi Jinping, and they have a friendly chat there. Washington gonna go crazy about this footage, by the way, and European so-called elites too, because clearly, by the way, we have factual evidences, right, that collective West is no longer dominant force in this world. It's just factual. Washington, Brussels, London, other Western capitals try hard to create divisions between leading countries on the way of leading countries in the process of developing multipolar world, and they failed. They failed big time, and they were focused on India, by the way, and still are focused on India. They wanted to break India from BRICS, from Shanghai Cooperation Organization, from rest of the world, basically, and they failed. They failed big time, and that's why they are now making all sorts of crazy statements in regards to this great power and great nation. The world is getting divided, by the way. I said many times before in my updates that unfortunately, due to irresponsible, inadequate policies of the collective West leadership or Western ruling elites, we can call them globalists, neocons, whatever, due to their crazy policies, world is getting divided, and it's just too visible, isn't it? On one side there is a collective West, and on the other side is the rest of the world. That's the reality that we are facing right now, and this divide will continue and accelerate as long as, at least to the point until Western societies will manage to reclaim their own countries, right? Make some changes in the leadership, in elites, and then once Western countries, if that's even possible on theoretical level, once Western countries will be led by adequate people, probably we'll see reconciliation of the collective West and the rest of the world. But until then, until Western societies will reclaim their own countries, unfortunately, this divide in this world, when on one side there is a collective West, some 15-20% of the humanity, on the other side the rest of the world, some 80% of humanity, this divide will only accelerate and continue. But yet again, this is not due to us, this is due to crazy policies of the collective West. Also, dear friends, if you are interested about countries that are members of their SCO or send delegations to participate in SCO summit, you can pause right now and just take a look at the list of the countries. Also, dear friends, Vzгляд newspaper is reporting that press spokesman of the Russian president, Dmitry Peskov, was asked about possibility that Russian president will meet with the president of Azerbaijan on the sidelines of Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit. And let me give you his answer. On the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit in China, the president of Russian Federation and Azerbaijan may hold the talks as early as Monday, that is today. This was stated by Dmitry Peskov, although he did not say that this meeting will necessarily take place. It might happen. The possibility of meeting between Russian President Vladimir Putin Russian President Vladimir Putin and Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev on the sidelines of SCO in China is possible, said Dmitry Peskov. He told journalists that such a meeting had not yet taken place, but he hoped to have the opportunity to hold their conversation tomorrow. Okay. He was asked yesterday, by the way, about it, and let's see if today we will see a meeting between Putin and Aliyev. Media and public pays attention to this because recently Azerbaijan escalated, become tremendously hostile towards Russia. Azerbaijani criminal regime, by the way, led by Aliyev, terrorist and mass murderer and genocidal maniac, by the way. We all know what they did to Armenian people, right? So therefore, let's be real here. So this genocidal maniac, which is head of Azerbaijan, escalated with Russia tremendously. Under the orders, I'm quite sure, under the orders of London and Ankara. First of all, London, by the way. And I don't think relationships between leadership of two countries can be restored anytime soon. Even if such a meeting between Putin and Aliyev will take place, Aliyev crossed so many red lines, by the way, in last couple of months that I don't think Putin can either forget about it or forgive such a hostile behavior. So, if meeting will take place, it's going to be all smiles and hello, and it's going to be all cool on the surface, but in reality, Aliyev's regime has to go. That's it, man. If Azerbaijani people want to have good relationships with Russia, I don't know about it. Maybe they don't. Who knows? But if they want to have a decent, friendly relationship with the Russian Federation, they have to get rid of this terrorist regime that they have. Personal opinion, by the way, of mine. Russian leadership, in statements in regards to this escalation, was very diplomatic always, by the way. Always very diplomatic, and I was reporting about statements that was made, right, by Russian high-ranking officials. But me, as an ordinary citizen, by the way, I'm free to say directly what I think, and that's my take. This terrorist, mass murderers, genocidal regime of Aliyev have to go, by the way, 100%. If Azerbaijani people want to have a good relationship with Russia, if they don't, then okay, let them keep that freaking moron that Aliyev is, man. Right? That's it, man. Never forgive, never forget. That should be a principle, by the way, for forever. RIA Novosti is, especially, by the way, when fight is not, when you are not honest in the fight, when you are fighting on behalf of other, that cannot be forgotten. Sometimes even brothers are fighting, by the way, right? Even closest allies might have disagreements. It's okay. Shit happens, right? But if you are considering someone to be ally or friend, and that someone on behalf of other one, your enemy, will escalate with you, that's treason. You cannot trust that traitor ever after that, right? That's it. That's my take, though. RIA Novosti is also reporting, and I spoke about this yesterday, that two basically sealed unity of their countries that are leading the charge towards the building of the multipolar world. And of course, BRICS member states are leading this charge. Brazil's leadership is coming up with their initiative to hold their sort of emergency summit, by the way. Mechanical translation said extraordinary summit, but I will say emergency summit of the BRICS member states to address hostility towards the BRICS member states from US and other Western countries. And on the sidelines of Shanghai Cooperation Organization in Tianjin, China, Brazil's delegation will work actively with BRICS member states representatives to basically organize such a meeting, and hopefully it will take place, and BRICS will condemn hostility, from unprovoked hostility, by the way, from the West, right? Because neither BRICS, neither Shanghai Cooperation Organization actually did anything to demonstrate its hostility towards the Western world, right? It's exactly the opposite. Always BRICS and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization always are highlighting that these organizations are not against anybody, and they are very much open for cooperation. And if, for example, among members of member states of these organizations, trade now mainly or largely is in national currencies, right? If trade is increasing between the member states and decreasing with the collective West, that's because Western sanctions and tariffs and so on, right? And that issue was created by the West. They weaponized their financial and the banking system, right? They come up with this freaking idea of waging trade war with everybody, and they are dealing now with the consequences of that. It's not us that started this, right? So therefore, clearly, this aggression that we are seeing nowadays towards BRICS member states, not just Russia, by the way. West loves to hate Russia. That's a historical process, right? But also in regards to India, in regards to Brazil, they love to hate China too. And also South Africa is being attacked, right? First of all by US. So this topic have to be addressed. Nothing to be said about Iran, for example, that also was attacked militarily, even not just on a political scale, but militarily by the collective West, right? So therefore, hopefully this summit will take place, and West will get yet another clear message not to mess around. It's necessary, let's do it. Also, dear friends, I mean, a lot of news left, but I guess I have to once again take your attention, if I may, and highlight that this channel, well, only 108 members are watching right now on YouTube. I made decision to start live streams at 11 o'clock, and I'm regretting now this decision. Maybe I should keep 12 because last week I was starting at 12 live streams. There was twice more at least members on the stream on YouTube, by the way, at least. But anyways, let me just highlight, dear friends, that this project only exists as long as I have your support, dear friends. So therefore, if you want to keep this project running, please consider to support my work. As I said in the beginning, you can do it through several means. You can donate through PayPal. You can donate through Boosty platform. There is also a crypto option, but I'm not quite sure that crypto option still works because there's way too long. There was not a single donation there. But anyways, also during the live streams, you can use a super chat feature on Rumble and become premium subscriber. And dear friends, Patreon, please consider to subscribe to my Patreon. Monthly subscription starts from $5, and then it's up to you. It's up to you. It's $5, $10, $20, $50 or $100 if you are rich, by the way, and can afford that, or very rich. So all the links are on this video description box and in the pinned comment. There was donation. Anya is telling me that there was a donation through PayPal. Okay, I will highlight that after the news segment. Okay, so that's been said, dear friends. All the links are on this video in description box and in the pinned comment. And let's continue now. Let's continue. Let's talk about Ukrainian crisis now. TASS news agency is reporting that overnight, Western-backed terrorist regime of Zelensky launched yet another wave of drone attacks on the Russian Federation to strike deep inside their country. 50 drones were intercepted by Russian air defense systems. I can give you some specifics, dear friends, on that. 16 drones were intercepted over the Black Sea, and 7 drones over the Azov Sea, 12 drones over the Belgorod region, 4 drones over the Saratov region, 3 drones were destroyed in Samara and Orenburg regions, and also 3 drones in Tatarstan Autonomous Republic. 2 drones were destroyed over the Krasnodar region. Overall, 50 drones that was launched by Kiev regime with assistance of NATO were neutralized overnight from 12 to 5 o'clock this morning, by the way. Also, RT is reporting, and many other media outlets, that Zelensky went to threaten Russia once again with the long-range strikes. Ukrainian leader Vladimir Zelensky has threatened new strikes into Russia days after claiming that Kiev possessed a brand new long-range missile capable of reaching Moscow. Zelensky wrote on Telegram that he had been briefed by Ukraine's commander-in-chief Alexander Syrsky on the current battlefield situation. And there is a quote here from Zelensky: "We will continue our active actions exactly as needed to protect Ukraine forces." You are not protecting Ukraine, a dirty animal. You are protecting geopolitical interests of the globalists and sacrificing people of Ukraine for that. And I'm so sorry, by the way, that people that are living in this former Soviet Republic, many of them were brainwashed, by the way, brainwashed tremendously, and they don't know. They still, to nowadays, many of them, by the way, are not realizing that they've been used as a pawns, by the way. They've been all sacrificed. Forces and their means are prepared, Zelensky said. New deep strikes have also been planned, he said on Sunday, without providing further details. Earlier, dear friends, as you know, Zelensky claimed Ukraine has developed a long-range Flamingo missile with a reported range of 3,000 kilometers, which would be enough to reach not only Moscow, but also Russian cities beyond the Ural Mountains. And, well, that probably you have seen that Flamingo missile. It does look like one Soviet era drone, and also UK and United Arab Emirates, by the way, were working on a similar type of drone, and probably that's exactly the drone that was given to Kiev regime by London. Engine of that drone is from L-39 Czech training plane. So it's a Western weapon system, by the way. It might look like Soviet one, but I think that weapon system was developed by UK and UAE, right? And yes, unfortunately, that missile allegedly, based on reports that I see, I mean, military experts did not really deny that massive drone can actually have a range of 2,000-3,000 kilometers. And what is most important, payload of that drone could be up to 800 kilograms, maybe even 1,000 kilograms, which is 1 ton. It's a subsonic missile, so therefore, for air defense systems of the Russian Federation, it would not be any issue to track and intercept those drones. But unfortunately, there is no air defense system in this world that can intercept 100% of aerial targets constantly, 100% of the time, right? So therefore, if UK provided the Kiev regime with their dozens and dozens of those drones, there is a risk that if there is a massive launch of those drones, 1 or 2 cruise missiles might actually be able to bypass air defense systems, get through it, and strike somewhere. And can you imagine what would happen, let's say, to a high-rise apartment building if such a cruise missile will hit it that has 800 to 1,000 kilograms of explosive material as a payload? Entire building can be destroyed with numerous casualties, isn't it? So even though a missile itself is nothing extraordinary and can easily be defeated by Russian air defense systems, there is a still high risk that this terrorist regime might use it against civilian targets to terrorize as a part of this campaign of terror against Russian people that London is engaged actively, Berlin is engaged actively, Paris is engaged actively, Washington is engaged actively, and their pro-secure regime, right? So there is a risks there. And also we should keep in mind, dear friends, that there was a report that US has authorized basically transfer of more than 3,000 cruise missiles to Kiev regime with a range up to 450 kilometers. On some media outlets, I even see reports, by the way, that some modifications of that cruise missiles can have a range of 700 to 800 kilometers, right? So if thousands and thousands of those cruise missiles being promised to Kiev regime, then one might assume that at least dozens of those missiles already can be on Kiev controlled territory, maybe even hundreds of them. And that's also issue that, of course, Russian militaries will pay close attention to, and Russian air defense systems, obviously. So risk is real, by the way. I mean, we can say whatever we want about Zelensky and this terrorist criminal regime, but unfortunately, West does provides these mass murderers with the long-range capabilities, right? So risk is real, and the Russian militaries, of course, will pay close attention to these developments and do whatever it takes to secure Russian Federation and the Russian people. And when it comes to work of the Russian militaries to minimize military capabilities of this Western-backed terrorist regime of Zelensky, by the way, including long-range strike capabilities, on a regular basis, Russian armed forces conducting long-range precise strikes on military and logistical infrastructure of the Kiev regime, also on facilities of military-industrial complex where assembly lines might be of this Western supplied weapon systems or domestically built ones. Kiev regime is able to, or was able at least, to produce, for example, Neptune missiles, right? And a few days ago, there was a report that Russian air defense systems intercepted 4 Neptune missiles that has a quite long range, right? So Russian armed forces are working to minimize these long-range strike capabilities of Kiev regime. And one of the such strikes took place last night, by the way, in Pavlograd direction, and one of the chemical plants was struck with the Geran 2 drones, and as a result of this strike on this facility where fuel was produced, by the way, for missiles, there was a massive explosion. Let me show you some video footage of that, dear friends. It was really massive explosion, by the way. Just look at this. And then, wow. That's a rocket fuel, by the way. Facility that, exploded. Probably that facility will never ever produce rocket fuel, right? Because damage must be tremendous, by the way, on the place, isn't it? Let's watch it once again. It's a huge strike, huge explosion. So yeah, Russian militaries are working, by the way. Russian military intelligence is working, Russian security services are working, and Russian missile and drone forces are working to eliminate these long-range strike capabilities of the Kiev regime. And you have seen a result of that work, right? Success story there for sure. Also, dear friends, let me share with you this report that head of DPR, Donetsk People's Republic, Denis Pushilin, reported that Russian armed forces, having driven the Ukrainian armed forces out of Kamyshevaha settlement, have liberated the entire territory of the south of the Donetsk People's Republic, which is a good news, by the way. South part of the PR is completely liberated. Now northern western part is have to be liberated, and there is quite a number of settlements there still occupied by Western-backed terrorist regime of Zelensky and its forces, and among them, big towns, relatively big towns like Patrovsk, Mirnograd, Konstantinovka, Kramatorsk, and Slavyansk. But it's only a matter of time, isn't it? And Russian troops will liberate all of it, maybe even before end of this year. By the way, because more and more military experts are suggesting that despite all the bravado on part of Kiev regime or its Western backers, in reality, Kiev regime's forces are on the last breath, and they are about to begin collapsing, and we might see domino effect taking place all over the front lines. So maybe in next 3 to 5 months, by the way, Russian militaries will be able to liberate all of DPR. I'm not a military expert. I cannot know for sure, but that's the predictions that are circulating on internet. Also, dear friends, globalist and globalist control regimes in Europe were trying actively to derail peace process in regards to Ukrainian crisis, and one of the ways they were trying to derail this process was to come up with some nonsensical and totally unacceptable proposals, unacceptable for Moscow proposals in regards to resolution of this crisis. Among those proposals are, of course, deployment of NATO troops on Kiev-controlled territory as disguised as a peacekeepers or something, right? Moscow was very clear that NATO presence on Kiev-controlled territory in any way, shape, or form is completely unacceptable, no matter how you're going to disguise them, right? So, but nevertheless, London and Paris, they don't listen to Moscow. They are continuing to push this narrative. Maybe they actually want to deploy their troops, by the way, but most likely they are pushing this narrative to derail the peace talks, right? And Merz, Chancellor of Germany, was asked about it, and surprisingly, even though earlier we had numerous reports in Western media and in Russian media and media all over the world that globalist control regimes in Europe, first of all, London and Paris, are determined to push this narrative of sending their troops in Kiev-controlled territory. Well, Merz stated that no one is currently discussing the deployment of ground troops to Ukraine. So, I mean, what the hell is going on there? Right? German Chancellor stated that no one in the West is currently discussing the possible deployment of ground troops to Ukraine. He said this in response to a remark that this topic is allegedly being discussed by the British and French leadership. According to him, their primary decision is about so-called security guarantees for Kiev in case ceasefire is established, and they are primarily aimed at supporting the armed forces of Ukraine. This is an absolute priority, but he denied that they are considering deployment of troops. I don't know what to believe, dear friends. I don't know what to believe, but we cannot trust either Merz or Stammer or Macron, that's for sure. We cannot trust nobody from Western ruling class, that's it, from Western elites. They cannot be trusted, period, right? And also, German Chancellor Merz went to said that war might end tomorrow if Ukraine capitulates, but is mentally turned for a long time, as he does not want Germany to be next in line. I mean, these people are not stopping. These elements in charge of collectivists are not stopping pushing this nonsensical, crazy narratives that Russia are gonna attack NATO member states. Ukraine is first, then gonna be Baltic states, then gonna be Germany and France and Italy and UK. And unfortunately, people, because of the influence of the propaganda of the Western so-called elites, many people in the West actually believing in this crap, isn't it? That, well, Russians are sleeping and dreaming about attacking everybody, which is crazy, isn't it? But well, they want to scare people, right? Western elites. They want to scare people, and because it's easier to manipulate with the communities that are terrified. It's easier to manipulate with them, right? And they are succeeding in that. Unfortunately, they are succeeding in that. Of course, Russia will not attack. By the way, no Germany, no UK, no France, no other country. By the way, if not provoked, why would Russia attack anybody? It makes no sense whatsoever, right? But nevertheless, it is good to know that Chancellor of Germany at least understands that this war can end right now if globalists and their Western elites will allow Kiev regime to make their only right decision in the current situation, which is to capitulate, because they're gonna capitulate anyways. They're gonna be no talks between equal rivals. They're gonna be no negotiations between equal rivals, right? Ever, in regards to this crisis, because there are no equal rivals. Russian Federation beat hell out of proxy of the Western ruling class, right? And the Western ruling class too. And that's why they are hysterical. That's why they are hysterical, by the way. And therefore, no one should expect some faking negotiations to take place as if between the equal rivals. No. Russia won, Western ruling class lost this proxy war that they started, and they will capitulate. It's only a matter of time. They might not capitulate today, tomorrow, but they will capitulate day after. It's just inevitable, right? And of course, their proxy Kiev regime will capitulate too. That's it. And by the way, they already are understanding this. Otherwise, they would not even spoke about topic of capitulation. They do understand this, right? And the more this understanding will settle in to globalists and globalist puppets in European regimes, the more hysterical they're gonna become, and they're unfortunately more dangerous too. And we should keep that in mind also. And dear friends, when it comes to pushing this hysteria about Russia attacking everybody, von der Leyen, head of European Commission, went to Poland on the border between Poland and Belarus, and began pushing all this crazy nonsense that Russia is engaged in a war with the West. It's a hybrid war, and this war and that war, and they're going to spend more money on military. They're going to do this and that. Okay. Who gives a damn, by the way? But and I can show you even a video of that. And if there's gonna be any war, by the way, if there's gonna be actually any war on a NATO soil, let's say, that war is going to be between Poland and Germany. Between Poland and Germany, by the way. Russia is not going to waste time on European states or the resources. No, man. If not provoked, yet again, no one here in Russia will even think about attacking anybody. But when it comes to NATO soil, I'm quite sure it's only a matter of 10, 15 years max, by the way. And are we going to see war between Germany and Poland, with participation of some other countries? Some will ally with Poland, some will ally with Germany, but that war is coming, by the way. That war is coming, and the Polish leadership knows this. They are investing heavy in weapons. They are officially saying, by the way, that they're going to overspend even US in terms of GDP, right? How many percents of the GDP they spend. And they plan to spend in 2026 4.9%, isn't it, on the military, when US spends like 3.2% or something of its GDP. And Germany is beginning to accelerate. First step already being taken to basically begin militarization of their country. They are coming up for now with the idea of voluntary service of the youngsters, but soon, give it a year or two, they're gonna come up with a mandatory service, mandatory subscription, right? And they're gonna spend heavy, by the way. Even though Germany's economy is collapsing, is in a very bad shape, by the way. Germany's economy is in recession, but nevertheless, they're gonna spend big on the militarization, and not because they are truly believe that Russia gonna attack, no, but because they see what Poland is doing, and the reason for them to fight, by the way, is land. As you know, after Second World War, Stalin took eastern territories of the Poland and give it to Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. And that is Western Ukraine now mainly, right? 70% of Western Ukraine used to be Poland before Second World War. Stalin also took Transcarpathian region from Czechoslovakia and gave it to this creation of the Bolsheviks, Ukraine. I don't know why, by the way. I mean, I don't know. Stalin should cancel this Ukraine and unite all the land and give back all the land to Russian Federation. That would be a right decision. But anyways, and Stalin also took some significant territories from Romania, by the way, right? Well, because Poland lost eastern territories, Stalin gave Poland as a compensation territories from Germany. And when Poland will take back this eastern land from Western Ukraine, and they're gonna do it, by the way, they're gonna do it. This is another reason why they are spending so heavy on the military, because they know they're not gonna have an easy time in Western Ukraine, which is a stronghold of Ukrainian Nazis and the fascists, right? So once they will reclaim that territory, German people gonna say, you know what, you get your territory back. So what about our territory that was given to you as a compensation? Then give us our land back too. And of course, Poland will say no. And they're gonna fight over that. And they have many other reasons, by the way. I mean, in Europe, you're gonna struggle to find two countries that actually have a good relationships, by the way. They all hate each other. I mean, literally, friends of ours from European states can say they literally hate each other, all of them, right? They talk about unity constantly, but they literally hate each other because of the history, because of the some other reasons, but that's the reality, right? So yes, if there's gonna be any war, by the way, in Europe between Poland and Germany, I expect this war to happen in 10-15 years time from now. But when it comes to Russia, yet again, if not provoked, no one in Moscow are gonna consider even wasting time on European states, man. Why would we do this? You know, we have so much stuff to do, by the way, isn't it? So that's the situation there, right? Anyways, dear friends, I do have a few more news, and because of this constant push of Russia hate by Western public figures, Western politicians, Western media, unfortunately, they are able to brainwash not just majority of the societies in the Western countries, but they are brainwashing some of them in such a scale that those people are beginning to commit crimes against Russian people, against Russia. And one such a case had happened, for example, in Australia just now. A man has been arrested after a car crashed through a gate of the Russian consulate general in Sydney on a Monday morning, injuring a police officer during the incident, according to local media reports. New South Wales police said officers were called to their consulate on Fullerton Street in Woollahra at around 8 a.m. after reports of a suspicious vehicle in their driveway. When officers attempted to speak with the driver of white Toyota Kluger SUV, he allegedly accelerated into the gates and onto their property. The 39-year-old man was arrested at the scene and taken to Surrey Hills police station, where he is assisting with inquiries. Police confirmed that consulate staff were harmed. 24-year-old police constable suffered a cut to his hand during the response and was treated by the paramedics. So, by the way, I mean, this is a hate crime, isn't it? This is a hate crime. This person, whoever, this young man, by the way, how old is this? 39-year-old. I mean, grown up, basically. It's a grown up man, but nevertheless, he's been brainwashed, isn't it? On such a scale, not just brainwashed, but he was zombified on a scale that he just destroy his life, right? He gonna end up, maybe Australian leadership don't want to react on this situation because they hate Russia. They are pushing this Russia hate, right? But after all, crime was committed, isn't it? And they have to now react, arrest this individual, charge this individual, and he's gonna serve some time in prison, and who knows what kind of person he will come out from prison. So he might well ruin his life, right? Because of this Russia hate that is pushed all over the Western world, by the way. People being hurt, actual people being hurt. Police officer was hurt, 24-year-old, by the way, and he's a lucky one, isn't it? Because this crazy could drive over him, right? Not just scratch, but literally kill him. And they could, it's a consulate, isn't it? There could be some civilians at the gate, consulate staff, isn't it? They could get killed too, due to this Russia hate that is promoted in the West. This on this scale, by the way, is actually zombifying people, and there are some of them are committing crimes, actual crimes, and harming people. That's how it is. That's how it is, man. And nothing to be said about harassment of Russian speakers all over the Western world, by the way. And why is that? Also because of this anti-Russian, Russophobic propaganda in the West. There is so many videos, isn't it, on internet, by the way. So many videos when tourists being harassed on the streets. On the streets, they are just walking. Families walking somewhere in Italy or in France or some other Western country, enjoying themselves, right? And then someone hears the Russian language and begins harassing them. There were many cases when Russian citizens was not served in cafes or the restaurants, right? Russian citizens, by the way, that are paying, quite well whenever they are on a tourist trip, right? And many countries in the collective West now are economically suffering because of the lack of Russian tourists. Ask Greeks about it, for example. Greek was one of their most loved destination, most popular destination among Russian tourists. And because of the Russia hate, this Russophobic propaganda, by the way, many people in Greece become so aggressive, for example, towards Russians. Harassment was, on such a scale that, people just stop going to Greece. And Greek tourist industry is end up being a casualty as a result, right? And the people that were working in that field, And it's not just Greece, brother. So that's what people like Ursula and the rest of the garbage that is formally at least in charge of Western ruling class, and that's what globalists, neocons, and all sorts of scum of humanity is doing. They are turning people, ordinary people, against each other, and generating this hate. And as a result, harassment. Okay, you can live with that, right? It's unpleasant, obviously, but okay. I mean, maybe your holiday is ruined due to unpleasant experience, but okay, you're not being harmed, right? Or you're not being killed or something. It's unpleasant, but okay, you can deal with it. But what about crimes that are physically, literally endangering the lives, like this crime in Australia? And who's gonna pay for that? This individual will pay for that, of course, but will people that indoctrinated him in this Russia hate, will they pay price for it, for this crime? No, no. Let's continue, dear friends, with some other news, and very interesting and important information is coming from Iran, by the way. I believe the first time on official level, there is a statement made in Iran that Azerbaijan was actually engaged in assist Israel in a war, in a 12-day war against Iran. Ibrahim Azizi, head of the Iranian parliament's National Security and Foreign Policy Committee, stated Israel used the Azerbaijani border to attack Iran. Border forces firmly stated that the Zionist regime used the Azerbaijani border and that some drones passed through this route. The Azerbaijani president said that Iran must provide evidence. Their core reality cannot be denied, and we are investigating their matter. So this is the first time I believe Tehran is openly blaming Azerbaijan. We all knew, dear friends, that Azerbaijan was assisting Israel. It's not just the drones, but also there were reports that on Iranian shore of the Caspian Sea, drop fuel tanks of Israeli planes were found. So how they end up in a Caspian Sea if they did not fly through Azerbaijan, right? Through Azerbaijan and Armenia too, Badu, right? To get to Azerbaijan, Israeli planes should fly either through, and to get to Caspian Sea, by the way, they had to fly through Armenia, Caspian Sea, or Turkey, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Caspian Sea. You cannot get to Caspian Sea without entering the airspace of the Southern Caucasus republics. And Azerbaijan was assisting, by the way. Of course, it's not really a secret, right? But this is first time when Tehran official in Tehran is making such a statement. And we should keep in mind, dear friends, that there is a huge Azerbaijani population in Iran, by the way, and most religious and patriotic people of Iran are Azerbaijanis, and they are very much not happy. If anybody thinks that West will use this point that there is many Azerbaijanis in Iran to create divisions in Iran, right? And they will use Azerbaijani leadership now, this Aliyev and Azerbaijani secret services to manipulate with Iranian Azerbaijanis. They are mistaken about it. Iranian Azerbaijanis are most religious and patriotic people in Iran, right? And if anything, they will influence Azerbaijani people in Azerbaijan, because probably they are not happy that Azerbaijan is prioritizing cooperation with Israel, cooperation with Turkey, arch rivals of Iran. And also, by the way, we should not forget that there is not really great relationships between the Shiite and the Sunni Muslim worlds, right? And Iran and Azerbaijan, both countries are predominantly Shiite Muslim countries. Although Azerbaijan is a Turkic-speaking country. Anyways, there are a lot of nuances there, but this is the first time when Iranian official officially accused Azerbaijan for assisting Israel. I guess some follow-up statements and maybe inactions will be taken soon. RT is also reporting that Houthis detained UN staff in Yemen. Their Houthi group, or Ansar Allah movement, by the way, has detained at least 11 staff members in Yemen after storming UN offices in the capital Sana'a and the port city of Hodeidah. The UN special envoy said on Sunday the raids came in response to an Israeli airstrike on Thursday that killed Ahmed Galeb Nasser al-Rahawi, the Yemeni militant group's prime minister, along with several senior officials. The Yemeni security sources told AFP that the Houthis also arrested dozens of others across Sana'a and their surrounding areas on suspicion of collaborating with Israel. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said their militants forcibly entered the World Food Program facilities, seized UN property, and attempted to break into other agency offices. Hans Gamburger, the UN Special Envoy for Yemen, condemned the new wave of arbitrary detentions of the UN personnel and demanded they be released immediately and unconditionally. And I think Houthi rebels have to release, Ansar Allah movement have to release these UN staff members. This not gonna bring them any more support worldwide if they have actual evidences that some of the staff members were collaborating with Israel. They can, in that case, bring some evidences on that. Otherwise, this is UN staff, by the way. They are helping. Or at least they should help people of Yemen, right, that are suffering from numerous issues, right, due to decades-long war and civil, and unrest inside the country. So this is not really a good step, in my personal opinion. So they should release these people. By the way, UN staff should be released. This is not good, personal opinion, and probably they will bother. Probably they will. They acted on their emotions, maybe, right? But after all, if anybody to be blamed, by the way, that they have significant losses in their leadership, or they have to blame themselves. They are in a war with Israel, and why on earth their leadership was gathering in one place? What the hell, man? Do they have security services there? Why they allow high-ranking officials to get together in one freaking place and allow Israel to take them out with one strike? So probably UN staff is going to be released, by the way, because this is mistake, in my personal opinion. If they have any charges, any evidences against a particular persons, they should bring it on. Otherwise, UN may not does much good in this world no more, because it's almost incapable to do anything. But UN does provide Yemeni people with food, with medicine, with some assistance, and I don't think they deserve such a attitude, right? Also, by the way, Ansar Allah movement is claiming, or Yemeni Houthis, that they conducted the attack on Israeli tanker in the Red Sea. So Israeli oil tanker Scarlet Ray was hit with a ballistic missile near Saudi Arabia's Red Sea port city of Yandu. Statement says, and on your screen right now, dear friends, you see that vessel allegedly that was hit by Yemeni missile. I mean, it is unbelievable, isn't it? How how capable Ansar Allah movement really is. I mean, or Houthi rebels, as they also are known. how they are still fighting, man, and still launching these missiles and conducting military operations. I mean, it's quite something, man. This experience of Houthi rebels had to be learned, by the way, because I don't know, Saudi Arabia, UAE, a number of other countries, with assistance of Collective West, by the way, was bombing and fighting Houthi rebels for 9 years straight, right? They lost. Then US and UK get engaged. They lost too, basically, because they were forced to sign up basically for peace with Yemeni Houthis. And Israel will lose too. They have no chances to stop this organization. But question is, how this group is that capable, man, to continue resistance no matter what? I mean, something incredible there, right? A few more news, dear friends. Unfortunately, there was an earthquake in Afghanistan, and according to Reuters, preliminary data is that 622 people were killed and over 1,500 injured as a result of this earthquake. And yet again, this is a preliminary information. Unfortunately, there is a high risk that during the day this information will be updated, and we will learn that more people actually died as a result of this earthquake. That was 6 pointer, 6 magnitude earthquake, 6+ magnitude earthquake. Also, dear friends, U.S. Navy buildup off the coast of Venezuela continues. A destroyer USS Sampson was seen in Panama. You can see a screenshot on your screen right now of this warship. And the official line of Washington or Pentagon is, of course, fight against drug trafficking. But in reality, we all know that this buildup is against Venezuela. U.S. seems like to be very much determined to overthrow Maduro's government. So therefore, it seems war is inevitable there. It seems that war is inevitable. RIA Novosti is also reporting that, Trump made a statement that U.S. will become a third world country if tariffs are removed. So United States will largely become a third world country if the tariffs imposed this year are lifted, President Donald Trump said on a Truth Social network. I remind you, dear friends, that Court of Appeals had previously ruled that the head of the state in U.S. had no right to impose the restrictions in the way they were imposed, making most of them illegal. However, Court upheld them until their Supreme Court hearing on October 14. So tariffs still are in place until October 14, and it is also a possibility that Supreme Court will also say that, Trump did not really have the constitutional right, authority to act this unilaterally, imposing tariffs on everybody, right? And he is not happy, by the way. Trump is not happy, and he's saying that now U.S. will become third world country if tariffs are lifted. Over 15 trillion will be invested in the United States, a record. Much of that investment is due to tariffs. If the radical left court is allowed to eliminate those tariffs, nearly all of that investment and much more will be eliminated. We will become a third world country in many ways, Trump said. And he's exaggerating, of course, by the way. He's exaggerating. I don't think calling a court, judges of the court appeals, Court of Appeals, lefties or left lunatics or something like that is helpful. If Trump has no authority to act this way based on U.S. Constitution, then what he was expecting that Court of Appeal judges will say, that you can do anything or what? No one can do anything, right? No one. So there must be some other ways to implement these tariffs. So why Trump is not taking that other way? That is illegal. And when it comes to US becoming third world countries, in many ways, US is already third world country. Let's face the reality, isn't it? It might be the richest country in this world, right? Or one of the richest countries in this world, and it might have a most capable, according to some, by the way, militaries, although I doubt that claim, really. US still has the probably most capable navy, maybe, right? But some probably will doubt, challenge that claim too. But nevertheless, in many ways, by the way, I mean, US is already a third world country, because take a look at the state of California. Take a look at the New York, by the way. Take a look at Chicago. You know, from what I see, I'm not gonna go into details, by the way, but from what I see on internet, from what I hear from people that actually live there, it's total mess. It's total mess, by the way, and many other areas, by the way, in US, right? There are places due to fracking or fracking. Due to fracking, there are places, entire towns, by the way, that have no drinking water. Water is, groundwater were poisoned so much so that people, when opening tap, they can put the lighter there, and it's a fire, by the way. Water is packed with a gas, and it flames. You think this kind of stuff is acceptable for a actually developed country? No, man. If for any company here in Russia will does anything like that, poisons the ground so much so that then people open tap in some town and it's a gas there. By the way, leadership of that company gonna spend the rest of their lives in taiga, warming up the air for rest of the life, and rightfully so. But in US, it's okay, by the way. I mean, these energy companies poisoned almost all the land everywhere, which is crazy, man. This should not, and I will say will not happen in developed country, actually developed country. So let's be real here. Yes, US is a powerful country, rich country, but when it comes to ordinary people, by the way, standard of life in US is in decline for decades now. For decades, since I will say since late 70s, maybe even early 70s, standard of life in US is constantly in decline. And for sure, after 80s, by the way, US has become absolutely unrecognizable. Yet again, correct me, dear friends, if I'm wrong. Members of our community from US, of course, know better than I will ever know what is going on in US. But from what I read and hear, the US is a very different country now than it was in 60s and even 70s, right? Then family of four was well capable of to afford a house, right? To afford the home, to afford their decent life for family, for kids, right? Education for the kids, even holidays, by the way, summer and winter holidays, to have a car, and that's based on wages. That's a middle class. Today, try and do it. By the way, people are making. I don't understand how this is even possible, but allegedly, people are making 50, 60 grand a year, and they still are unable to afford their mortgage. How that is possible, I don't get it. What is going on in US? But yes, that's reports that I have seen, by the way. And those people themselves making videos, isn't it? So in many ways, US is a third world country already, some parts of it, right? It's not all this shiny Manhattan, by the way, US. US is a massive country. It's the fourth largest country in this world, right? It's a massive country, and it's not all that great as some might think. Anyways, let's see how this tariff situation gonna develop. And I guess, yeah, when it comes to tariffs, by the way, well, one way or another, but those tariffs actually did already have results. And one of the results are that trade between China and US is in decline. I reported about it yesterday, but let me just reiterate for members of community that may not watch yesterday's video that in second quarter this year, by the way, 2025, US imports from China collapsed to $64.8 billion, the lowest lowest level since 2006. Since 2006, by the way. So this tariff war and trade war is already creating issues, by the way, already creating issues. And it's a US citizens, isn't it? That US consumers that gonna suffer as a result of this, because with what they're gonna supplement Chinese goods if those goods are not produced in US or let's say in Canada, or if they are produced in Canada, Canada is tariff too, right? So either they're gonna live without certain goods that they were taking from buying that are produced from China, or they have to pay tremendously more. Either way, it's the consumers that are suffering. Am I correct? I'm telling you, dear friends, if Washington was focused on Europe or the collective West in general, and with these tariff policies forced their companies from Europe or other Western countries to transfer the manufacturing capabilities to US, that policy could succeed, could be successful, right? But Trump went to basically try to bully whole world and force companies from all over the world to move their manufacturing plants to US, and this would not work. This just simply would not work, and the US will lose this trade war in that case. They could deal with Europe, and process was already underway. All they needed is to little bit accelerate the process of the industrialization of Europe and reindustrialization of US on expense of Europe, right? This process is happening anyways. And with the tariffs and stuff, Trump could accelerate this process, but he went to attack whole world, man, and this is not gonna end well, I think, for the US. And they will back down at one point. Washington will have no option but to back down. And well, that's about it for a new segment, dear friends. Hopefully you did find it informative and interesting, useful. And if so, once again, please click that like button, dear friends, if you have not already. This might help to deal with the algorithm. And so yes, what else? And leave some commentary if you are watching this video in few hours from now, after live stream ends, then please leave some commentary. This might also help to deal with the algorithm, and maybe this video will reach wider audience. And there was donation, isn't it? So there was a donation during the stream, dear friends. So let me highlight her. Nathan, thank you very much for your $20 donation. Truly grateful for this support and for your attention. Comment from Nathan Iser. Thanks, Levan. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you. Grateful for assistance and the help. And that's it. There was no super chat on Rumble. And let me get engaged with the chat now, dear friends. As I said last week, I was able to have extra content or exclusive content on my Patreon and Boosty on every workday from Monday to Friday, and I'm gonna try to do the same this week. By the way, hopefully it's not gonna rain, and later on I will go out and record their second news update for our Patreon and Boosty communities. Dear friends, if you want to support her, one of the ways that you can do it is to join our Patreon community, to become a Patreon paid subscriber. And subscription, monthly subscription starts from $5 there, and then you have choice. I mean, you can use your level of support. If you are very rich, then you can subscribe for $100 a month if you want to, but you know a $5 subscription will do. By the way, I'd be grateful if our community doubles. Now there is 153 members on our Patreon community, and if our community doubles, then this project will be safe. By the way, and that will bring me peace in mind, because it's freaking stressful to be in this job, man. I'm engaged now, dear friends, with the chat. I'm reading. Lion of Judea is commenting. Good morning, Levan. It's 3 a.m. Central Time in United States. I have a day. I have the day off because of the holiday here in the United States. Listening to you very early in the morning. Happy holiday, Lion of Judea. I don't know what particular holiday is, what particular celebration, but have a wonderful day to you and then to your family, friends, everybody. And dear friends, I don't know what celebration is today in US, and but nevertheless, I wish you all happy holiday. Lennon, some fugitive, is commenting. Did they really arrest that girl for hanging English flag? Well, they did, by the way. I did not report about it in this news segment, but yes, there is a story, by the way, and Russian media did pay attention to it, that in UK, I mean, something crazy is happening in UK. A person was arrested on during the anti-migrant protest, just because anti-migration protest or something, just because that person was having a British flag. I mean, what the hell, man? How are you gonna arrest somebody for carrying flag of the country? This is insane, man. This is insane. And that person, I saw some videos, by the way. That person did not throw nothing to anybody, did not do anything really. Just was having the flag, right? And was arrested. I don't know. Maybe there is some story behind it. Maybe before arrest, that person, I don't know, did something crazy. But I don't think so. Right? Situation in UK is so bad, by the way. People being arrested now for posts on social media. I saw a video that elderly person, by the way, elderly person. Several policemen went to a house of an elderly person somewhere in UK, and this person was filming on a phone, and he was arrested because somebody took his comment on one of the social media platforms as an offense. And that elderly man, by the way, was harassed by police for comment on a freaking internet, by the way, and was taken to the custody. It is total insanity, by the way. I mean, every now and then, some troll may come and write some crazy stuff about me, and what I should be. What, man? I have received so many threats, by the way, actual threats, right, in my life, especially in Georgia, by the way, right? Since I start making this project also, but this is cannot be compared to what was going on in Georgia during the Saakashvili's reign. And maybe I just have immunity to that kind of crap. I don't know. But I would I would never even think to call police on someone just because I didn't like any comment of anybody. What the hell, man? You can write anything you want, by the way. I mean, if it's too offensive, I will delay comment or I might block the person. But otherwise, you can write anything you want. Uh, but in UK, this is not the case, by the way. I mean, you might get arrested. So therefore, I'm not going to be surprised if person actually was detained for carrying British flag. Maybe that was too offensive for somebody, right? It's crazy. You cannot comment seriously on such a insanity, isn't it? It's wild. Nidish Kumar is asking, Levan, do you think EU uses sanctions on India and China? Biden will be used as a bargaining chip for USA to get involved in Ukraine war? Uh, no, no. Um, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure Brussels would dare to impose similar tariffs or sanctions on India as US did, um, or on China, by the way. Although they are so crazy in Brussels, they can do literally anything, right? But I don't think they will go that far. And in any case, I'm still hopeful that U.S. decision of White House to distance itself from Ukrainian crisis is serious, and this process will continue. Hopefully, EU globalists and globalist control regimes in all over the Europe, including leadership of EU, by the way, hopefully they will fail to keep US in this proxy war against Russia. But sanctions, no, they're not going to trade with US with nothing, by the way. If America First forces in US, if they actually are in charge, if they stay strong, globalists don't really have much leverage over the US. It's US that is a dominant force in the Western world, no other way around. And if America First people are standing strong, they cannot be harassed by globalists. They just cannot. So Europe would not be able to trade anything in to keep US in a leading position in this proxy war. And I'm not sure they're going to actually introduce sanctions on India and or on China. This will be just too harmful for European economies. They would not survive that. Literally, they would not. The European economies would not survive tariff and the trade war with India and China. Those economies already are suffering, by the way, due to cut off economical ties with Russia. So can you imagine what will happen if they will do the same, if they began destroying economical ties with India and China? Man, they're not going to survive that. So they would not risk it, I think. Thomas Connolly is commenting, how long did you live in New York? Your English is great, and their causing and their anger is priceless. Oh, thank you very much. Thomas, I never lived in US. In other life, I would, of course, love to travel around this world, including in US, by the way. So many nice places to see, isn't it? not just cities but nature. I would love to go to Yellowstone National Park. It must be, wonderful there, right? And there are many other places that I would like to go. By the way, I want to go to one day. Maybe we'll be able to take a holiday and go to Russia's Kamchatka, by the way, where volcanoes, actual active volcanoes are, right, and geysers, and it must be something unreal there. And there is many other places, of course. But yes, when it comes to US, I have not never been there. I only travel into a few countries. I lived in UK for several years, and that's it, really. So unfortunately, I never had the opportunity to travel around this world. So yeah, I don't know why you think I was living in New York. No, in London, by the way. I lived in London for a couple of years. I lived in Leeds, another city in England, by the way, UK, a couple of years. It's a tiny city relative to London, for example, Leeds, but it was a great university town, by the way. When I was young, you know, like 25 years ago, if not more now, right? It was a great city, and London was great. Nowadays, members of our community from UK are saying that there is unfortunately significant decline that is happening in UK, and this is this is bad. By the way, I have good memories in regards to UK. I met great people there, friendly, and I have a positive sentiment towards the people of UK. By the way, and it is sad to see there is some decline. People are struggling, more and more people, but maybe they will reclaim their own country, by the way, and things will get better. Hopefully they will, because this uni party, these labours and their conservatives, I mean, they are ruining UK, but for how many decades now? And if nothing will change, they will actually ruin the country. I remember when I go back to Georgia from UK, uh, at one conference, I met with I had interaction for a couple of minutes some with representatives of some British delegation, and I was a bit surprised to hear that I was speaking English in a Yorkshire accent. Leeds, by the way, is a Yorkshire, right? And I still remember that. I don't know how my language sounds now. Probably it sounds like Georgian Russian accent, but I mean, some 25 years ago, I guess I had some I had some Yorkshire accent. Maybe I was using some specific words that was used in and still is used probably in Yorkshire. And there are some words, by the way, that I did not hear in London, for example. It's usual stuff during the conversation when that words are used in Yorkshire, but I did not hear those words in London. Every part in every country, by the way, isn't it? Have some specific nuances in accent, in the language, and so. Harry C. Smith is commenting, Flamingo is not exactly the most terrifying name for a weapon system, is it? Whatever next, their fearsome parakeet, their deadly giraffe. How about man-eating llama? Yeah, I don't know who come up with this name and why, but most dangerous, think about that cruise missile that was developed, I believe, was developed with the active participation of UK and UAE. They had a similar project, by the way. In past, probably now UK is providing with their staff regime. Most dangerous stuff about this cruise missile is payload. Payload, which is 800 to 1,000 kilograms, according to reports. And just imagine what would happen, as I said, what would happen to a high-rise apartment building if, by chance, these Flamingo missiles were launched in scores and one of them managed to get through air defenses and struck the building. I mean, 1 ton explosive will just demolish the building, isn't it? That's the main danger, by the way, that it might cause tremendous civilian casualties. Otherwise, as a weapon itself, of course, it's not a big deal for Russian air defense systems, by the way. I mean, Russia has the best, literally best air defense systems in the world, isn't it? One that is capable to intercept everything that flies, literally everything, right? From subsonic aerial targets to hypersonic aerial targets. It's only Russia that can do this. Russian air defense systems like S-500 can deal with the hypersonic aerial targets. That's the primary task of S-500, isn't it? While in Western air defense systems barely are capable to do something with their ballistic missiles, even. Right? So Russia leads this world when it comes to air defense, but unfortunately, there is no air defense system in this world that can 100% intercept 100% of the time intercept 100% of their targets, and there is a risk therefore. Although Russian troops are doing a good job, by the way, demilitarizing this Western-backed terrorist regime of Zelensky and its military capabilities, including long-range strike capabilities. So hopefully none of those flamingos will ever reach Russian airspace. Also, Harry C. Smith is commenting, France and England have only been friends for 200 years, but are enemies for 800 years before that. Yes, I mean, 100-year war was between them too, isn't it? And they were constantly fighting each other, and still until now, by the way. As I said, I was living in UK, right? And whenever there was a conversation about anything that France was coming up, well, people's reaction was, "Oh, France." No, this gesture. This is also a historical one, isn't it? In UK, they use these two fingers as a negative gesture, as middle finger in the rest of the world, right? And these two fingers are coming also. It has a historical root, as far as I can tell. English bowman, by the way. English bowman was their nemesis, isn't it, from their enemies, and for French militaries also, right? And that was hated, and as far as I can tell, two fingers. English militaries were showing two fingers on the battlefield to their enemies as a gesture of disrespect, and they were basically making point that they have these long bowmans that with two fingers can take them out. And they were nemesis, by the way. English long bowmans were nemesis at the time of French troops too. So yes, they have, and I'm quite sure in France, by the way, they also have not really much more sympathy towards the English, but yes, in Europe, you're going to struggle to find two neighboring countries that actually like each other. Even Germans and Austrians, by the way. I mean, one might say one people, right? They are speaking German. They speak German. They are one people I will say, and they don't like each other. And Austria, by the way, believe it or not, was considered as some very much undeveloped province by many Germans some 100 years ago. And now, so Scandinavians, by the way, they were constantly fighting each other. They don't like each other too. Swedes, Norwegians, or Danish, they don't like each other too. They always take making fun of each other, right? And none of them like Finns, by the way. So and it's in the folklore now. It's in the folklore too, isn't it? So, but anyways, let's talk about some positivity, man. My apologies, dear friends, if I miss your question. I'm scrolling now, and seems like that's about it. Nidish Kumar is commenting. Levan do fundraising stream twice this week. Uh, I mean, Saturday, Sunday, maybe. Uh, I can do Saturday, Sunday. Weekend streams could be, can be fundraising streams for next week. Uh, Thank you for the idea, Nidish. So weekend streams basically, it formed like that. Weekend streams are becoming fundraising streams mainly because in the work days, uh, unfortunately, there is a quite, far fewer donations, but still there are donations. So many thanks to everybody who donates during the weekdays too. But yes, I mean weekends I can do fundraisings, and you know, a left side crew is asking how long you expecting the war in Ukraine to last. Well, it depends, isn't it? If US will fully or partially, uh, if new administration in Washington will fully or partially withdraw US from this proxy war, then I don't think globalist controlled European regimes will be able to sustain this proxy war against Russia longer than a year. Uh, but if US stays in this proxy war, then this conflict might last, I don't know, until 2028, 2029. No one knows actually. But yet again, it also depends how long Kiev regime will be able to continue this forceful mobilization and how long Kiev regime's forces will, maintain capabilities. Some military experts are saying that give it several months and they're going to collapse. But these kind of predictions we have heard before too. So therefore, I just don't know. If Kiev regime's forces collapse, by the way, in few months' time, then war will end in few months' time because I don't think NATO gonna or European NATO troops gonna send their own armies openly to fight Russia. So it is a question that probably no one really has an answer. I think I mean, I myself also, I mean, I just don't know. Why should I speculate? I don't know. I hope conflict will end this year, hot phase of this confrontation or military phase. I hope it will end as soon as possible, but how long it will last, I just don't know. It's just too many uh, points that can influence the situation. Too, you know, Kate's thin Stone is commenting the tariffs are stealth tax on the American people, and I agree with you 100%, Kate. That's exactly what it is because eventually it's American people that have to pay for increased prices on the goods that being tariffed, isn't it? That's exactly how it is. I don't think we have to be uh, like scientists in economy or finances, right? Or CEOs of some bank to understand these basics that these tariffs are actually stealth tax on American people because it's American people that will have to pay more. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for your comment, Kate. Smoky Sally is commenting Yellowstone is like visiting another planet. Amazing natural wonders are there. Thank you for your comments, Smoky Sally. I think so too. There are going to be many places, of course, all over the US that is a great wonder, wonder of nature. And there are Yellowstone, of course, among them, isn't it? After all, it's a super volcano, by the way, right? Another exclusive feature that Yellowstone has, it's a super volcano, by the way, and uh, according to scientists, that super volcano does erupt every like 500-600,000 years, and some are suggesting that it might erupt again in from now to next 100,000 years. So hopefully it would not, right? But yes, it should be fantastic scenery there, and in many other places, by the way. I mean, it's a U.S., one of the biggest countries in this world, isn't it? So of course they're gonna be great wonders there, as it is in basically every country, isn't it? Georgia may be tiny, for example, but you go in Georgia, you will see some scenery that you will say, "Wow, is this real?" Uh, Nothing to be said about Russia, by the way, where you can see everything literally, right? You can skater, you can ski on the mountains, and then take a like 2 hour trip and swim in the sea. You can walk through forest, by the way, that is just never finishes, right? You can see active volcanoes, desert, everything. So yes, every country has its unique features, of course. Dear friends, I guess I will end the live stream on that. Uh, Sandra Xavier is commenting. Can you please explain how I can pay for super chat, or are there some other options I can use to support with the little money I have spare? Um, well, super chat. If you want to use super chat on YouTube, you cannot because on YouTube I don't have a super chat. Super chat is on our monetized channels. So during the live stream, sir, Super Chat is working on Rumble. It calls rant. In Rumble, it called rant, but it's basically a Super Chat that we are used to on YouTube, right? On YouTube, you cannot. So there is a rant feature on Rumble, and when you click, it's you will get a step-by-step explanation there, what to do from the platform itself, and there is also a PayPal platform and Boosty platform for donations that I have, and that's it. Unfortunately, I don't have Buy Me Coffee or some other support platforms, but that's all I have. So you can become a subscriber on Patreon or premium subscriber on Rumble. That is support, of course, also. And dear friends, this is it for now. My apologies if unwillingly, I missed your question. So, dear friends, thank you very much for your time, for your attention. Have a wonderful day, great, successful new week. Take care, and if you are member of our Patreon and Boosty communities, see you later. If not, then see you tomorrow. Bye for now, and take care.